Ew, ew, big fish-ish. Y'all know what it is. We at my favorite spot. Y'all know. Barnes& and Noble just picked up Patrick Bet-David, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And I sat down in front of the store on the bench, read the first chapter, and I'm going through it, and I was reminded by a Nipsey quote or a Nipsey tweet in which he said, don't quote me word for word. I think this is word for word. And actually, this is the tweet that he put up, I think just hours before his demise, at least in the physical form. And it said that having strong enemies is a blessing. Having strong enemies is a blessing. And as I'm reading this book, I'm realizing that different people have different motivations. I've always been the type of person that if you put me in a corner, if you challenge me, if you tell me I can't do something, then you and what you just said just became my enemy. And now I have every bit of chip on my shoulder to where I'm going to stop at nothing to make sure that I win and that you are incorrect on those statements that you made. That's just the energy that I've always been on. You tell me I can't do something, that's the easiest way to guarantee that I will do something. Now, thinking about business and just life overall, based on one of the topics that he's talking about, Patrick Bet-David, he's talking about logic versus emotion. And getting into the business world, I've tried to always use a more logical approach to things. I thought that's what I was taught. I was taught that people buy on emotion, so therefore I want to be as logical as possible in selling my particular product myself in order to appeal to my target market, my customer. So it was always move with logic. And in the personal world, y'all know the whole back and forth between men and women. Women are more emotional, men are more logical. So I guess naturally I'd always leaned into being more logical, but I realized that I was selling myself short or limiting myself just based on focusing on the logic. Emotion can be very important in business and in life and leaning into our emotions. But what Patrick Bet-David does a good job of talking about is choosing your enemies wisely. All right, that's blending the logic with the emotion, creating whatever balance works for you that is going to put you in the best possible position to have a very good strategic game plan, but also make sure that you have the inspiration and fire to carry out that game plan. You get what I'm saying? So, and then back to the enemy component. Let's think back to high school. Who your rivalry game is, who your biggest rivalry says a lot about you. Our biggest rivalry, no disrespect to Barringer, was not Barringer. We used to beat them all the time. It just is what it is. Our biggest rivalry was not Belleville. Just is what it is. Our biggest rival was Bosco. I mean, my fault, not Bosco. I'm over here getting nightmares, was Bloomfield. Now, the reason why I said Bosco, and I'm glad I said it, is because those are the games that I always wanted to be my rivalries. I wanted to see myself on that pedestal as they were on. They were always above us, Bosco and Bergen. They recruited, it is what it is. They would dominate us in a lot of games. They probably looked at us as Barringer. So the reason why Bosco just came out is because if I'm a rival of Bosco, like Bergen was, that means that I am held in high regards. Now, they're not looking at us as a rival because they're like, yo, we beat the shit out of them every year. Like, we're not worried about them. So understanding who our enemies are, choosing our enemies, rivals, whatever you want to call it, not only says a lot about who we are, but it says a lot about, or it can determine, I should say, how far we want to reach our level of success. What are our goals? Do we want to just aim here and, hey, I'm cool with my rival just being this average team? Or do I want my rival to be whoever the top dog is, that's my rival? Now, there's levels to it. There's steps that we need to take in order to get there. But understanding that how we choose our enemies and who we choose as our enemies, that's going to determine a lot of the work that we need to put in, a lot of the sacrifices that we need to make, a lot of the effort that we need to put forth, all these different things are going to be determined by who are our enemies. Now, what also is going to be determined by, or what also is going to be determined by who are our enemies, are how far we need to go. How much money we need to make in order to compete with that other sales, with that other sales team from that other company. How much of our products do we need to sell? Those are our enemies. So understanding and choosing our enemies carefully, that can not only force us to make the right plan, a strategic plan, a very logical plan, but also to incorporate that emotion into it to where, like I said, we got the fire to, hey, if things ain't going right, so what? I'm still waking up every day and I'm still pounding the pavement, giving the same level of energy or more that I need to give to make sure that I'm going to win in this particular situation. All right, so choosing our enemies carefully. So I guess the lesson that I gave to myself or that God gave to me, and maybe that y'all can give to yourselves, is to figure out who you're competing against. Who are you competing against? And don't be scared to aim high, but just understand that the higher the competition, the more that it's going to be required from us in order to win in those situations. All right? The higher the competition, that means everything is greater. The challenges are going to be greater. The time that we put forth is going to be greater. Everything that we need to do needs to be held to a higher standard based on who our enemy is. So our enemies determine our standards. So I should have started off the video like that. But our enemies determine our standards. So y'all let me know, who are y'all enemies and how you going to increase those standards. So with that, I'll see y'all soon. Sorry for talking y'all ear off, but y'all know how I go when I start rambling. I'll see y'all soon. Ew.